And good timing right after that conversation, since it was a little more private. But good morning, Diana. I'm glad you're here. I'm so glad you and Rob had a chance to get together outside of one of our calls and you guys got to hang out. So I'm so glad that happened. Oh, she must be in listen only mode. Okay, guys, this is your time for me to ask any of your marketing questions. And let me just remind you what next week is. If you go to your marketing calendar in the classroom and you open that up, which I'm doing now, I'm trying to stall, had it open and then I shut it. Next week is National Nurses Week, celebrating nurses. So who here works in hospitals, in care facilities, in memory care, since we were just talking about that, in any kind of rehab with any age patients, who works in that area, because next week is an excellent time to show your appreciation to the nursing community, the ones that let you in the hospital rooms, right? So what does that spark in your head when I say National Nursing Week that you could do for nurses? Any ideas from you guys? Is it a holiday you think that you would want to leverage, or a
Because
holiday? Hey, Diana.
I, Laura put together that sheet to
Mhm.
help them. Man, that's a perfect opportunity. And yesterday, like at TNT, Rob said that we got together. Well, that melted into a really good meetup because he's somebody I can trust. Well, he helped me out at an assisted living center, and I had a conversation with the director after we were done, and I
Yeah.
can bring in Laura's sheet and get his staff prepped and whatnot. I mean, that's just an open door.
Yeah. So let's look at that, because if you open your calendar in the classroom, you see anything underlined, that means it has a hot link to it. And it's the resource is right here. Um, Hospital notarization guide. You can just click on that, fill in the stuff you need, and then you will get the free download from Laura. And the cool thing is, the thing I love about this is you can brand it to your own business. And if you have any familiarity in Canva, it's real easy to throw it into Canva and kind of manipulate it that way too. But it's a resource to share um, the, what did I do? I don't know what I've done here. It's a great resource to share for hospitals, so that when someone says, like, I need to find a notary, obviously you want them to refer you, but they can also help with the preparation before you even get there, because they may have questions for the nurses and they don't know how to answer that. But then you're giving them the tool for how to answer those questions about how to, like, having an idea. A lot of people in a hospital don't have their driver's license on them. They left in an emergency situation and what do you need your driver's license for in a hospital, right? So if they need something notarized, that's something that comes up and they're like, oh crap, I didn't even think about that. Like I've had people say, like, well, can't I just use my hospital bracelet? No, you can't. I mean, yes, that's probably who you are, but no, that is not considered, a legal form of identification. So the resource that Laura created is, you're right, Diana, it's very helpful and very easy to rebrand with your own company information on it. So, and next week is a perfect time to appreciate those nurses in elder care, assisted living, memory care, hospitals, doctors' offices, anywhere that, you want to market your services. I know some people don't want to work in hospitals. Totally get that. How do you guys feel about the hospitals? Rob, are you good with hospitals?
Totally fine. I was
Yeah.
raised by a nurse. I
Ah,
have no
yeah.
no
Amber
qualms.
Nicole, how do you feel about them?
All about it. So I want to just like jump in and give kind of like my 5 cents, not 2 cents.
Sure.
Um, so I have a couple of hospitals, like some are like more like acute care, some are like general. I mean, it runs the gamut, like they're
Yeah.
all over here. And I get so many phone calls because literally like social services, they have a list of like notaries that come to the hospital, whether I've left cards out there or not, but they literally just Google, right? Why Google is such like your greatest friend. And like I get so many calls like they're in the ER, they need advanced healthcare. That's like free marketing. So like of course, why would you not want to? And if anything
Yeah.
is gonna happen to you, at least you're in the hospital. So like
Right.
something can. And like, hey, I'm out here, or like something happened. Like I do carry like little Lysol wipes with me and the little spray hand sanitizer. So like before I have them sign, I literally will spray down my pins and use like, the little supplies that
Yep.
they have and like do that. So that way they know like one, I'm cleanliness just like they are in the hospital. And then
Hmm.
immediately after, so that way when I put it back in my bag, it's not carrying germs again and then I'm taking those germs with
Oh
me.
yeah.
But for me, like for hospital work or doctors and things like that, that is like a no-brainer for me because it automatically feeds my business without me even trying. And then just doing a little bit of help, like, oh, what is there any, like, there's no wrong to do that. There's no bad thing. Like, we could all use extra money, right? And it's
Yeah.
more than regular general notary work because one, you're having to park, you're having to go there, then you're check in, and then this, depending where they're at, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think, it's important. You brought up social services, which is where you start, the process of marketing at different facilities. And you're right. I mean, it's so important to continue to market to them and get to know them and build that know, like, and trust factor because it is, if you're comfortable in the hospital setting, some people are, some people aren't. Um, and whatever, like whatever you want to build your business around, but it's still, you have to build that know, like, and trust factor. And so taking something like this Nurses Week next week, and the fact that you even know that is impressive, right? They're going to be like, oh, this person has done their research. Like, wow, they know that it's National Nurses Week. And just bringing, even if you're just bringing in yourself to talk to social services and, recognizing, like, you don't have to spend the money to do it. You can just say, like, I realize it's Nurses Week and I wanted to come in, and that's what prompted me to want to come in and meet you and, get to know you a little bit, talk to you about my services and how I can help the patients in the hospital. It can be as simple as that. It doesn't have to be some big heavy lift with spending,
I
right?
will say, like, to kind of piggyback, like what I was saying before, and like what you're saying too, like with social services, like they give the list to the patients and their family, right?
Mhm.
They do come and check in, like, hey, how did that notary go? Did you get it taken care of? And like
Yep.
they get feedback from those patients. So again, like, I mean, I like did one like 2 days ago. And the lady was like, "Oh my God, you did everything great." And I was like, "Oh, well, here's an extra card. Um, that way you can let them know like how your service was." Plus, she gave me a Google review while we were in the
Nice.
hospital. And like for me, just getting that feedback, the social service director called me back like the next day and told me, "Oh my God, like we've heard about you several times from several of our patients and we refer you
Wow.
on the list, but we just can't say like, oh, only use Amber. We have to let them,
Sure. Yeah.
And I
They
was like,
have
well,
rules.
what number am I on that list?"
Yeah, they have rules, they have to follow, of course, and
Right.
but I love that they're doing the follow-up, and that has happened to me before too in a hospital situation. So it sounds like that's probably a pretty common thing. But Diana, what do you have for us? Do you
Well,
with hospitals?
the the assisted living in the hospitals and stuff, some of those have come from leads from like me doing a closing with a refi or a buyer seller, and
Uh-huh.
that's how I got in the door. I mean, it was like, but the staff, they were really nice about being witnesses. And when I got done, come talk to my director. Do you got any more cards? And so whenever they're low, that's what I was telling Rob. They're asking me for cards now. And
Yep.
the other thing, I like that Amber was saying that she wiped down her pens. Well, when COVID was hot and heavy, we had a couple of elections, and the girls at the table were showing me their newest and latest gadgets for sanitation procedures.
Uh-huh.
This thing just clips together and there's a sponge inside. You can put rubbing alcohol in it, you can put sanitizing lotion in it. You just push your pen through it. And I thought that was hot. So I'm gonna ask
That's cool.
where they got it because I think I need to put a couple of those in my bag now.
Yeah. I did. How did you handle COVID pens? Did you just wipe them down?
No, I left my pens behind. I just
I
invested
did too.
in Vic and said, you can
Vic.
keep
Mhm.
the pen.
Yep, I did the same thing. Yeah, I did the exact same thing. So, Rob, what you got? You guys don't have to raise your hand. This is like just us, casual call, so it's fine.
I
Yeah,
didn't want to be rude.
No, you're good. You're good.
I just actually kind of find it easier to manage on my side to,
Yeah,
keep
true,
my mouth
true.
shut and not crosstalk because then the internet gets involved and whatever. So, um, so the other day when Diane and I were there, one of the things that I'm trying to work on is developing partnerships.
Mhm.
Um, and especially when it comes to assisted living. And part of this is because my mother doesn't live in assisted living. She does live independently, but lives in like a senior apartment center or
Mhm.
whatever. And they're really lacking in a lot of needs. When we were there the other day, the gentleman that was doing the signing actually told me he's a hairstylist, and in the last year or two, he started doing uh, hairstyling at nursing homes and assisted living facilities. And he's like, I love it. He's like, it's amazing. Like, because these women just want to look beautiful and
Mhm.
they
Sure.
can't get out to do it. And so like for me, I want to start partnering with my pop-ins and stuff like that for these assisted living facilities, that kind of, partnership, a mobile notary, a mobile hair salon, a mobile,
Yeah.
whatever. In addition, I have a good friend that lives in town with me, and we've started sort of a board game club just with our friends.
Yeah.
But we've talked about going. I don't know when you moved out of Trophy Club, but there's that Harvest Senior Living
Mhm.
Center in Roanoke
Mhm.
there. And she happened to pop in there and wants to volunteer. And so we want to kind of bring the board game club over there just to bring some fun stuff to do. Because
That
since
is
they can't
the
leave home.
perfect way to build a relationship with those facilities, and you partnering with those other professionals that also love working in that space is I have found, and you guys have probably noticed this too, like people that love, like you can tell those people that love working in that senior space, like they really love it. They appreciate sitting around and talking to people that, you know, have more life experience and wisdom than they do. They want to soak all that in. And I get that. And connecting people, that's you being a connector, Rob. That's you saying, I know this guy that does this, and that does the hairstyling, and you can introduce him to the other care facilities that you might be involved in. Or if your game night thing sparks something, you can take that to other facilities in the area. And that's how you don't feel like a slimy salesperson.
Right.
That's exactly how you get around that, is by being yourself, right? Being genuine and leading with your heart of service. Because like I said yesterday, if you were on TNT, that is the one thing we all have in common. Rob, what were you before a notary? A teacher, right? I
Correct.
mean, we all have that heart of service. So I think that that's an excellent way to not only build up your business, like that's the side effect of it, right? And you're
Mhm.
getting to know more people in your community and you're building trust. And I hope that you can see now, I tell everybody, probably to my own detriment, that the 5-point marketing system takes 12 to 18 months to fully implement in your business. And hopefully now you can see why, because it's not quick and fast.
Right.
And it's, you're slowly building trust with your entire community, and that takes time. Everybody wants it right now. Everybody wants it right now. Amber Nicole, 5 years ago, could not figure out why it was not happening overnight. She needed it. She needed success overnight. Couldn't figure out why it wasn't happening, right?
My
had
God, I'm
some,
still that way.
you've been very successful. um, and you're the perfect example of it, though. You were going through a horrible time in your life personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look how far you have come and how much trust you've built along the way in your community because you didn't give up, right? So if you stay consistent at something for a year to 18 months, it's going to work. It's going to benefit you and your business. Diana's another great example of it. She's been in this space for 20 something years, right, Diana?
30, 31.
30 years. So,
100.
she's built this base of people in her community in Fort Worth that know they can count on her.
Yeah.
And that's how she's able to thrive in her business.
You want to hear
So,
how I got going in Mobile?
you
I
what?
want to hear how I got going in Mobile?
Oh, how'd you get going in Mobile?
I didn't know anybody, but Dave, one of David's jobs took us there, and I had a hard time getting my commission and everything, and whatnot. And his roommate's girlfriend was a like an appraiser.
Uh-huh.
Had me drop some her docs off somewhere. I hit the street called Piccadilly, and there they all were. LIE title, JP Morgan. I mean, there was like 10 of them. So I'm getting on the phone. David, should I drop my cards? That's the only time I've ever done cold calling. I I hit all 10 of them, and all of a sudden I had work, but it was slow. I mean, each month it would increase, but I had to show them I was serious, that they could count,
Sure.
that they would well, I mean, and back then none of my health issues and the great fall had not happened yet. So I
Yeah.
could work till midnight. I don't do that now, but even now I can cross reference because of the relationships I
Yep.
have. I can crossfire, or if I need somebody. I mean, y'all don't know how comforting it is. Like, where are you at? Would you like to work? Can you be my witness? And I tell them, I will do the same for them.
Mhm.
What goes around comes around. I'm sorry, you gotta do
Absolutely.
people right.
Absolutely, absolutely. The golden rule, karma, whatever you want to call it, 100%. I believe that. Diana, you guys may not be aware, but she has a business in Mobile, Alabama, and in Fort Worth, Texas. So she's got it. She's got two of them that she's balanced over the years. Rob, you got something for us?
I was just going to say the other thing, as far as, I'm definitely in the networking, building up like
Hmm.
no trust kind of stuff phase. And, yesterday at a networking group, there's a guy that he runs a security company. And when we're talking security, he actually does do cameras and alarms and all that stuff. But he's actually really talking about no bodyguard services for high end people,
Yeah.
and so I talked to him and I said, look, I just want to let you know, like I'm a mobile notary. I I'm not selling to you. I want you to work with me on how I can work with your clients, how I can be exclusive
Yeah.
to you, go through your security procedures. And I told him I grew up between Cape Cod and Nantucket. Like these people that you're dealing with, I grew up all around. I know
Hmm.
they want their privacy. I know they want to be treated like a human being,
Yep.
you know, and so I put that out to him. He was like, "Oh yeah, definitely, I'm interested," and so whether it's the nursing homes or it's just in general, I'm trying to find a, instead of me selling, I'm trying to help you
Partnering.
in your
Mhm.
need.
Yep.
I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't
No,
know
I
where it
love
got
that.
triggered, but
And like I said, that's you figured it out. Like it normally takes people that are just learning about the 5 point marketing system. Like it normally takes almost 6 to 9 months to figure out why it's important. Like they have to see it a little bit, like, oh, I've built this relationship with these one or
Hmm.
two people, and then it hits them like, oh, I've already done it. I just need to repeat this now. Now it's a numbers game, right? Like I've gone through the process. And so now I just need to repeat this process with multiple different people that might need my services. And I love what you brought up about like the celebrity client or the high net worth client or the recognizable name client in the last week, when I have gotten on TikTok to like engage with people on my stuff, I've seen 3 different notaries hinting that they had, or talking that they had, I had my first celebrity client. I don't know if it's like, they were different places in the country. I don't know what the deal is, like why it's, I guess the algorithm pulled it in for me to see, but they were trying to hint around at who that celebrity was instead of keeping their privacy. And I was so tempted to be like, this is exactly how you don't get that business again.
Right.
This is exactly what you do because this is TikTok.
Yep.
Everybody of a certain age is on TikTok, and you are throwing this out into the world and hinting about the sports with a small ball, or a pig skin versus whatever, like stop trying to make people guess in the comments what celebrity you did a notarization for, that
Yeah.
you worked with, that hired you as a client, because it's the best way to get them to never call you again or
Exactly.
refer you to their friends or, their other
And,
people that are in that space.
and it's funny you say that because that's exactly what that security company, head or whatever said to me yesterday. He's like, "Oh yeah, no, I've heard about all these notaries on TikTok, and they don't understand. Like famous people, yes, they want the fame at the right time. Like when I forget which one it is now, but when one of the Hanson brothers shows up at the Walmart in Roanoke, like it is sort of this production. It's always out there, and he knows it when he goes there. But so many times, I remember one time, and I'm not going to get into it, but there was a guy from CSI at a laundromat on Cape Cod one time when I was living, and I'm not trying to boast. And Amber Nicole, I'm sure you run into this as well all the time. And he was just doing his laundry, like, and that's all he was there to do. He wasn't trying, he just wanted to be a normal person. And it's ridiculous what, like I said, and the fact that the security guard knew that about people in our industry, like right away,
Yeah.
it's
It's
a
like they're
problem
trying to
for us.
bolster themselves up as like they're trying to say, I'm such a great notary, I can work with celebrities. They were probably found randomly online. First of all, they weren't chosen. Clearly, they weren't chosen for their secret keeping abilities. So they're like, oh, I'm such a trusted notary. And at the same time, they're telling everybody that. It's so hypocritical. And it's just like you are making a mockery of what we do. We're supposed to keep things like that private. There's nothing wrong, like in a group like this, like saying what you said, like, later, but trying to benefit and profit from it is a whole other level of wrong.
Exactly. I
Whole other-
mean, and obviously, if if they send a journal, it's a public act, but don't go spreading it. There's no need for that.
Yeah, no.
Like,
Don't
uh,
bolster yourself on somebody else's celebrity. Come on. That's
So one of the
exactly.
things, like Rob, like and Jen, one of the things that I do, so like I've had those experiences before. Like I built my business as being for more. I'm not the standard general notary. I mean, I can obviously, but I built my brand to be more of a higher net worth.
Mhm.
Um, those are just my typical clients. Like I specifically built my business for that. So
Mhm.
I have NDAs at the ready for when I do because they value their privacy. They don't want it to go like,
Great
oh,
idea.
I did a refinance. I just had this happen to me and then it gets blasted out there. They don't need their business that way. And especially when I'm dealing with wealth managers, financial advisors, their attorneys, and especially even going like my clients are now worldwide now, so that's like imperative, and that's like part of my selling proposition is that I do have an NDA fully ready, or if they have their own, I am ready to sign that. And because I mean, what we do is, I mean, we're as notaries, we're all about having, privacy and keeping their IDs, everything confidential. If you're going out there and just blasting it out there, oh, this person, or even dropping little things, like how is that even? You're doing exactly what you're not supposed to do
Yeah.
at all.
They're not using their own skill and their own abilities to bolster themselves up. They're using a random client. I love that you have the NDAs
Yeah.
ready to go. Rob, probably something you should consider with Vaquero right across the street from you.
Mhm.
You know, you have a lot of celebrities that and the Perot family that kind of
Oh yeah.
lives in your area, a lot
Mhm.
of sports people and stuff. The Joe
Shaquille just
Bros,
moved there.
the big one was, you know, Joe Bros used to live in Vaquero over there, the
Mhm.
Jonas Brothers. And
Yeah,
my daughter, when
that's
she
what I meant. Not Hanson Brothers, Jonas Brothers.
Jonas
That's right.
Brothers, yeah.
Yeah,
So when that, because Frankie, the youngest one, still lives in Roanoke.
yeah, yeah. He shows up at the Walmart every so often. Like I said, and it's just a big
My
deal.
daughter could not, she ran into Kevin Jonas at Walgreens, could not get that picture that she took of him. I mean, he's in Walgreens buying like toothpaste or something.
Hmm.
But I had let her walk by herself with her friend to Walgreens because we just lived around the corner from there. And I'm like, yes, you guys can walk over there by yourselves. Little 13-year-old Katie comes back. She had her phone at the time. And immediately, I think before she even got home, it was like on Facebook, like 50 comments, like, oh my God, you ran into one of the Joe Bro, you know. And it's like, that's they're just people, like, you know, like they need toothpaste and deodorant and to pick up their prescriptions and all that good stuff. But
The only two times I've ever been starstruck was when I was about that age, and Arnold Schwarzenegger got married in my church, and my
oh
cousin and I rode our bikes all the way over there and climbed up a tree just to see him and stuff. And then the only other time was actually a YouTuber. She randomly, I had figured this out at some point, but anyhow, randomly, I was picking up my kid at Byron, but I always waited in the parking lot across the street. She's sitting right next to me in her car, picking herself up picking up her kid at the little daycare there or whatever. And I
oh
was
yeah.
like, "Are you so and so?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh my god, I love you." Like, but I rarely get starstruck, and I think for her it was more just YouTube to me is a little bit different in just, especially her thing is it's more the small businessy. Like you got this huge success. It's not, I mean, it's fame and stuff like that, but it was just weird. I was like commending her more, like you're awesome for what you built, as opposed to being the
Yeah,
Hollywood movie
it's
star.
recognition
But
for like a job, like wow, like I've been following you, I see you. And have you guys ever had any of that happen? Amber, Nicole, you have a big social media presence. Have you ever had someone stop you and say, are you that notary that I saw on? Have you ever had that?
No, not at all. No, you know what?
Yeah.
It was kind of like, it was really funny, like a couple months ago. And this is when I was like, oh my God, my little social media, little reels and little things like are actually getting out because people were like, oh, Amber Nicole. And I didn't really know who they were, or maybe I did know who they were, but never met. Like, oh, you're so and so, you're this person, right? Like, super big in the community. And they knew my name. And I was like, oh, you know my name?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been seeing your social media like all over the place. And I was like, little old me, wait, what? And I was like, oh my God, okay, this is
A
working.
fun moment.
This is
Yeah.
started. And I was like, I'm starting to be the celebrity in my community, so that's an awesome thing.
It's my kids make fun of me all the time. There's a few years ago. I need to find this video and like send it out again to the group. My daughter made the funniest video. And it was like me, I don't know, I was like holding a glass of wine and like dancing something in the kitchen. And she did like all of our family and she did like little overlays. And she's like, this one thinks this one thinks that. And mine was like, my mom thinks she's a celebrity. And like me dancing around the kitchen. But my kids tease me all the time about that because they've been in that situation where we've been like, we run into a notary or something. They're like, oh my God, you're Jen Neitzel. And it's just, if you want to see my kids fall to the floor laughing and think something is the stupidest thing on the planet, watch them with me at a conference or something. It's hysterical. They will make so much fun because it's silly because it's like we're notaries. We're just teaching people how to market stuff. Hi, Michelle. How are you today?
Good. Sorry to be late. And my dog is
No, it looks like you're sitting outside enjoying the beautiful weather. We got two Californians and 4 Texans on the call. Wow.
And hi, Diana and Rob. We're all local, so that's fun. And hi,
I
Amber.
hey, Michelle.
know.
I don't know Teresa, but yeah, sorry to be late. Kind of taking a sick day today. So, no makeup, but I'm here.
That's
So,
fine. Well, I hope you get to feeling better. It looks like you're sitting outside enjoying the weather.
I'm in my kitchen, but it's okay.
Oh, it looked like maybe outside. So that's
I
always
know it's just my fireplace behind me. So
nice. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's pretty. All right, guys, anything else that we want to toss around about marketing? Michelle, just to catch you up, we were talking next week is Nurses Week, and that is a great time to get out to those doctors' offices. And that form that Laura has, I have a link to it on the calendar, the preparation form that you can brand. I think you've already pulled that, if I'm not mistaken. Haven't you used Laura's form before?
Me?
Yeah,
Is it the one where you're like
the
gonna
hospital
verify?
form.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought you had used that at some point. I believe. And also Rob was talking about doing a get together for all of us in June. So be on the lookout for that because that'll be fun. Little Texas notary meetup.
Yeah, he and I chatted, and so I'm looking forward to that. It'll be fun.
He's been,
You guys
listen,
go. There.
what's that, Amber?
How far from Frisco are all of you Texas away from Frisco?
They're about 40 minutes,
I'm an
45
hour.
minutes, an
Yeah.
hour away. I'm about 20. I'm closer to Frisco.
Plus a lot of tolls.
Okay.
Plus a
Yeah.
lot of money and a lot of
To me, my wife is Korean, which not too far from Frisco. Actually, Frisco has a huge Korean population. To me, Frisco is down the road. Like we have to go to Carrollton, another Korean area, all the time, like to
Yeah,
food shopping
Carrollton
and
has
stuff.
a huge Korean population.
Yeah. So Amber Nicole, I'm 40 minutes from Frisco, but to me, that's like, oh, I'll hop in the car and just go. So why? What's up in Frisco?
Yeah,
Well,
what's
my
going on?
best lives in Frisco, and I was just talking to her, and she was like, "Yeah, it's been a while since you've been down here. Well, not down here, but over there." And
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, I'm down to go." And I was like, "I know Jen's like somewhere around there, not too far, you know." And I was like, "Well, you know, part of my other community, I was like, hey, maybe this lady goes over there with her cowboy boots on."
Hey,
Like,
listen, come out and schedule it around Rob's thing that he's doing, and then you can write your whole trip off to see your friend.
Go.
okay,
Seriously, like it becomes a business expense at that point. You're coming out for a notary meetup.
there you go. Yes, all right, Rob, I'm there.
End of
All right.
June. Look at it. Ticket. See if you can get some good prices on tickets. Southwest flies here. And you can usually get because you would fly out of John Wayne or
I have three of them, so I can either do San Diego, John Wayne, or even Ontario.
okay. You can get some good prices on Southwest between John Wayne and San Diego. So you should check on that.
Will do. Rob, when
Yeah,
is
that'd
your
be so
meetup?
fun.
I got to pick a date, but it's going to be post conference because Diana's going there and Jen's
Yep.
going there. So,
Yep.
and Jen already
Okay.
told me she needs 3 days at least of rest, and she's going to
Jeez.
take July off. So
Yeah.
somewhere I'm going to pick a day. I'm actually today. Michelle runs, which she took over from Jen, the local networking group, um, near us, and that's probably where we're going to be. But if you're coming out to Frisco,
Okay.
maybe we'll move it a little bit more, even because a little more
You could
central.
come to Coppell. I'd be in the middle.
There you go.
Then I'm in the middle.
Right.
The grapevine, obviously.
See you. Bud.
Hey,
And
Amber Nicole, what is your social media to follow you at?
Social Security. I was like, you know better
I
than to
thought
ask
you were
me.
going to ask for Social Security too. I'm like, what are you doing?
Sorry. No, that would be a little too
TV.
prying too much.
Well, like if you go on Instagram, it's Amber's Mobile Notary. Super easy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And are you willing to share that NDA?
Yeah, I can easily. Here you can either text me, and I can give you my phone number, and then because I have it on my phone, and I can just send it on over to you.
Okay.
It's pretty generic, and then I just kind of fill it in, particularly depending on like what exactly that we're like, what industry it's for. I kind of just custom tailor it a little bit.
Mhm.
So it's like a generic, and then I just like, keep them as templates.
Okay.
Amber, I'm sharing your contact with Rob right now because I have both of your
Perfect.
numbers in my
Thank you.
phone
Thank you.
since you're driving. Boom. So you've now you can text her.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
just got it.
problem. I'm trying to make a concerted effort to make sure I'm putting everybody's number in my phone, and I have all of you guys. So
Give a little like tip, because I know we were talking earlier about like, nurses and assisted living and hospitals. One of the things that I don't know if everybody does like going to assisted living or senior centers, but they all, like every single one of them, they all do networking events. And so if you go promote yourself and like, oh, I want to introduce myself, they will, and like ask them, hey, do you guys put on any networking events specifically? And then they add you to the list. Like I probably, they're like every quarter, I want to say like every 3 months, there's like 4 of them just literally within like, I could walk there basically. And like next week they're doing the networking group, and they do like wine and all kinds of little stuff, and it's free to go. Um, Check it out, like in your guys' area, because
yeah,
they do little networks, and then you're also meeting other assisted facility members. So you go to
yep,
one, you meet all the others that could make it, and then not only that, then you're meeting nurses, then you're meeting all these other people.
yep. That's how it
So
works.
it's
That's
just like,
right.
oh, I'm throwing one bird to kill 5 birds.
That's great. That's a great idea. I think one of the best questions we can ask people when we're out and about is, where do you network? And I know when, I mean, obviously I'm not actively networking right now, but when I was, it was a question. I mean, I loved when people asked that because it gave me the opportunity to say, oh, I have this group and I would love for you to come and check it out. And, so people that are into networking like that are going to want to share where they do it and invite you. I mean, they're always going to want to invite new people to come to that group, right? Michelle knows she's hosting a group now. You always want to invite new people, right?
Yeah, it's a great way to connect with your target clients. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys, do we have any last minute questions before we wrap up our coffee talk this gorgeous morning?
It's just another push. I got so goofy. I'm still excited because I talked to Martin some
Did
more.
you hear from him? What's the scoop?
Well, Kim and Annette and Pam all went to the meeting Monday. He said it went really, really well. So since it passed through the committee on Monday for the home equity and A6 cash out bill, it's now going to be presented to the floor anytime within the week. So please contact your rep. Say yes, I'm for this, and
Nice.
if it passes the House, then it will get walked over to the Senate. And if the Senate passes it, it will be put on the Texas election ballot the next round. And so then you want to talk to all your neighbors and go, please support me, right?
So that would be next May.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd
So
be
it's
next May. It
been
goes
a
on.
process.
Yeah.
And all this started just because of Martin talking to me. And then at the 20, I guess it was 2018, 2019 conference, I talked to Laura and Bill, and that's how I met Matt. And then I already knew Bill Anderson, who's one of the attorneys
Mhm.
in NA on the federal, and they just picked me up and pushed me right in. And I can't believe how nice everybody's been. And
That's great.
I'm just sitting here being the butterfly, and they're doing all the work. But they said that's okay. Everybody has a gift or a talent or specialization. So I'm going to a lot of local Glocks things and whatnot. But I told Martin that I tried to push it yesterday, and I said, I'm sure I was just so funny and so goofy yesterday because I lost my whole train of thought. I mean,
Oh, that's okay. When
and I
listen, it's fun to be excited about
was
something.
watching Laura, and I was like, "Oh yes, yes." So I really appreciate because you helped me get it wrapped up. I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, it's exciting. And it's going to, if this passes and we end up actually voting on it next May, I mean, it's going to change the landscape of loan signings in the entire state of Texas. So it's a big deal.
Oh yeah.
I get calls weekly. Like, do you have do you have like a preferred title office? My title offices have told me like if you need to come in, that's fine, but don't recommend anybody else. Like we're
yeah.
not, they've had some bad experiences. And I mean, that's part of the stigma we're fighting against, right? As professional service providers. unfortunately, and this is true of any business, not just notaries, any service business, the dog groomers, the personal trainers, the mobile mechanics, you know, they're fighting an uphill battle against people who have not led with integrity in the past, you know, and that's a battle we're always gonna, you know, have to fight. And the only way to fight it is to always operate with transparency and integrity,
Mm.
right?
So if I could just throw out, oh, I'm sorry, Diana.
No, go
Oh,
ahead, Michelle.
you go first.
I was just gonna say, for any notaries watching this later, you know, I personally can't stand them. I quit working those A6 cash outs years ago because there's so many hoops you have to jump through, so many things that you have to take on coordinating. You have to prepay those fees up front, and then you out your own pocket for 45, 60 days. But Rob and I were talking about this last week. If you want to take that on, there is a ton of work out there for that, right? Like, I think, how many did I send you last week, Rob? Maybe 10 that I got just in the last few days of last week, notifications that are still coming through my phone. So if there are Texas notaries that want to build that market, like, go get it. The work is there and it's building more and more, you know, you just need a place to land. That's the hard part. So
That's the hard part.
I'm
Yeah. And
really hoping that that
why
passes and we're done with that for.
yeah, and that's why Rob's out there building relationships with title companies so that he has a space to go and not worry about it. Cash outs here for Amber, if you don't know, they have to be done in a title office or an attorney office
Or the lender, yeah.
or so it makes it nearly impossible to find a space.
Yeah.
That is the truth. And like you, Michelle, I hardly do them, but I'm starting to find out, like, if their lender approves it and does that little rider, then I'm starting to go to some of their homes. But
Yeah.
you're right, you're out that money 45, 60 days, and you do have to prepay it.
You are, and they want they want so much convenience. I'm sorry. They want so much convenience. It needs to be right by their house and like all these things. And honestly, they're paying you the same amount as a buyer's or a regular refi, but there's a whole lot more that you have to deal with to go. So I'm just sort of like, not part of my business model, but it could be really good if someone wants to take that on.
That's the great thing about being a business owner is if it doesn't work for you and you don't like them, you can say, nope, I don't want to do that anymore. Rob, what close us out. What do you got?
Sure. Well, and Michelle, I'm going to be texting you to get that scheduled, that Zoom again. Sorry about that. Last week you had asked about the loans and how loans are going and you know, that industry. At one of my networking groups, there's a home inspector. And he was saying, oh, it's been so dead, but he is seeing pickups. To me, that's a sign of we should be seeing then in the next, 30, 45, 60 days, more closings coming. He said he's not crazy busy like he used to be, but it's returned to normal where it was extremely slow up through April, he said. So he's last couple weeks he's been getting busy. But
I'm hearing from people from notaries all over the country. Like I'm asking, you know, it's happening. The buying season is here. People that need to move, that want to move for whatever reason, you know, it is happening. And I'm hearing a lot more about refinances. But it's such unpredictable time. I think anybody that is predicting with certainty what's going to happen over the next year or 2 to 3 years, I think is just, you know, there's no way to know what's going to happen. So, it is what it is, right? But yeah, I am seeing things pick up a little bit, but I don't think that's a lead up to a big run on
no,
anything. I think it's just the market normalizing after a very quiet, like 8, 9 months, you
Yeah.
know?
WFG posted their monthly stats for April in our area. And I think the average was 70 days on the market, something like that, for
Oh, yeah.
houses. Most of them had price drops at least once.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, it's moving, but it's way different than before. Also, it depends on where you're at because I'm on the west side and everyone in Texas that's coming in here seems like they're coming to my side of town. So there's a lot, but it's a lot of new builds, you know.
Mhm. Our school property taxes here in Coppell are so high. But we consistently rank in the top 3 school districts in Texas. So we have it's always been pretty steady. Like our home price increase, our value increases every year. Homes usually stay on the market 30 days. And no matter what's happening, that's been pretty consistent because of the school. But now I'm seeing houses, like there's a couple houses down the street from me that have been on the market for over 60 days at this point, which is unheard of
Yeah.
in Coppell. So that kind of tells me that, yeah, people are choosing to go where the property tax rate for the schools, which is the biggest chunk of property taxes we pay, um, they're choosing different school districts than Coppell right now. So Amber, Nicole, the property taxes, everybody talks about California being really expensive. You pay, like if you own a home in California, you pay a quarter in property taxes what we pay here. It's insane. It's insane. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, I'm protesting my taxes this year. Hopefully it works.
I do it every year.
Do you do it every
I'll
year?
do that.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
another thing that was interesting on the WFG's numbers were the county prices, because everyone's houses are going up in value. Dallas County, the median home price was over 500,000. That just, I just want to have a heart attack thinking about that compared to
My kids
4
are
years
like,
ago.
home ownership for my children is
It's
not even
impossible.
something they think
Yeah.
about.
Denton County was upper 4s. Tarrant was upper 3s. I was so surprised at how much difference there was between Tarrant. Tarrant was the lowest of all of them. I don't remember what Collin was, but Collin County was pretty high up there. So
Yeah.
anyway, I think just depending on where we're at is how much movement we're going to see as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
And this area is
the
so big.
key.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting year.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting year.
It's a good year to be a notary.
It's just like the stock market,
Oh, yeah.
This is the time of year, like the momentum will build up if it's normalizing, and then it'll start flying during the summer, and it'll start dropping again as soon as school starts, and it almost comes to zero during November, December, January, and then it starts all over again. So, and at the end of the month, everybody wants to close at the end of the month, and you're gonna pull your hair out. But that you look forward to it, but you also know, oh, so it's a catch-22.
It is.
Hey, I've got one more, Jen, if that's
Yeah,
okay.
sure. Go ahead.
So another stat that I was reading recently was the number of corporate purchases. So like in our state, and they were going by county. And so investors purchased over 50% of all houses last year in my county. So don't sleep on the investor clients, because you can be a preferred notary for investors. And there's these aren't all corporate, REITs and those type of things. There's a lot of little mom and pop guys that are LLCs as well.
Best thing to infiltrate that market, the best thing you guys can do is farm Facebook for the home investor groups. But you are absolutely correct. That is a major issue in the home market across the country, and it's what's driving prices up, Michelle, on homes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
keeping them so significantly higher than
right.
what they were in the past is corporations buying out the homes.
Yeah, and so these guys like to do RONs for their sales. So
Mhm.
if you're a RON, go get that business.
Absolutely.
And you can find a lot of the investors at their networking events. They love going to networking events. So
Oh yeah, they do.
just a few things to share for folks.
Absolutely. That's great advice. Love it.
One more thing is, like, if you get an order, like, I call it Russian roulette, but if it says commercial loan, it's probably somebody like me, an investor,
Yeah.
mom and poppy thing.
Yep.
So
That's exactly Diana, right?
don't be scared of that terminology. It's just a couple of extra documents, or maybe they're having to sign off on some resolutions for that particular transaction.
Yeah. 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 It's not much different than another one. Rob, do you have something?
Nope.
Oh.
Sorry. Forgot to
All
hit
right.
mute.
All right, guys, I got to wrap it up because I have to be somewhere in 15 minutes. But this was a great conversation today. I love this call where we just get on and there's no agenda and we can all just hang out for an hour every morning and talk. Thank you for being here, for spending the morning with me. if you're going to conference, make sure, I think Diana and Amber Nicole, you two are going, make sure you're here next week so we can, I'm gonna send an
Okay.
email out about it. Go over all those details. Okay?
Perfect. Rob, I saw your message. I'll get back to you after my appointment.
No worries. No
All right,
rush at all.
guys.
All right.
Have a
Thanks.
great
See
week.
y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.